Hi, I'm Miss Christ. This is my third attempt to record a video answering the question asked by one of your esteemed colleagues, namely, why don't I get a newer smartphone? I responded, the reason I don't get a new phone is both to save money, this is really cheap, and to save the planet. And your esteemed colleague replied, I understand that saving money part, and I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just curious, but how exactly is that helping save the planet? My response was, everything we eat, buy, wear, and use has to be manufactured and shipped to us, and then after we're done with it, thrown away. And that whole process causes incredible ecological destruction, which not only harms the planet, but it also harms people, from toxic pollution to climate change, to destroying the lands and waters that indigenous peoples rely on for their livelihoods. So, your esteemed colleague then asked a very astute theological question. Okay, that makes sense. However, what makes the planet worth saving? Is it worth it when everything in the world is temporary anyways, including the planet? Very good question. So my response would be that as a person of Christian faith, I look to God's word. God, in the book of Genesis, in chapters 1 and chapter 2, commands human beings to be stewards, to be caretakers of the earth and all of the living things on it. It's God's first commandment to human beings. Jesus, in the Gospels, in some of his parables, speaks about a steward, a person who's like a manager for someone else, who wastes and abuses the manager's resources that do not belong to him. And then when the master comes back, that's Jesus coming back at the end of history, the steward is going to have hell to pay. So that's Jesus' parables. And there's one passage, well, there are places in the Gospel of John as well, where Jesus in several places says, he has come that the world might be saved. The world, not just human beings, but that the world might be saved. And then in Paul, in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, says that all of creation will share in the glorious freedom of the children of God and will no longer be subject to decay. So he seems to be indicating not just human beings, but all of creation is intended to be included in God's plan of salvation. One of my wisest professors at the Catholic Theological Union in Chicago once said, at the end of history, there will be God and the fruits of human history. So how we treat one another, how we treat the planet, does have an impact. That is what I think. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this video will upload.